All right, so here's the first one. This confuses some people. Here's what the question says. It says, what is the sum of the solutions? So some people, when they do this, you divide by 2, right? And they think, okay, square root of 100. So the answer is just 10. But don't forget, there are 2 solutions, right? There are 2 solutions to quadratic equations, typically. There can just be one, and there can't even be 0. But in this case, we took the square root of a number. There's 2 answers. Then it says, what's the sum? Well, that means we have to add those up. Well, guess what? They're opposites of each other. It's 0. Okay? Questions on that one? I'm going to go a little quick on these first ones. A lot of times there's just a little bit of a speed bump that people can't get over, and then you kind of get it. So that's why I'm going a little quicker. Number 2, it says this is your equation, but then they tell us what x is, right? So if I just plug in either one of these, they both end up with the same thing, 8 squared minus a or negative 8. Either way, it says 64 minus a. And then it's equal to 0. The question is, what is the value of a? A has to be 64. They tell us what x is, right? Plug it in. Next one takes a little bit more time. Follow along with me. All right, first thing we'll have to do is FOIL. This is from that worksheet. All right, so we've got to distribute. If you distribute, you'll end up with this. So if you distribute, that's what you get. But remember, when we solve these quadratics, we want them equal to what number? 0, right? We want to set them equal to 0, just like we did on that assignment today. So if I do that, this is now positive 9 equals 0. You have 2 options at this point in time, 2 things you could do. You could use quadratic formula, or you could factor. Now, factoring this one is possible. You can do that. So here's what you'd get if you factor what's left over. I need 2 numbers that multiply to equal 9 and add up to negative 6. Yeah, they have to both be negative, right? Which leads me to the next thing to do here. We're almost done. Those are your factors. If you remember from way back when, factors are just one part in finding the solution. What's the solution? In order to make this equal 0, what would x have to be? Has to be the opposite, right? So x is 3. So you might be tempted to stop and say x equals 3. Now I've covered up what it said in the question right here, sorry. But it says, what's the value of x plus 3? Well, x is 3. So x plus 3 is 6. There you go. It's one of those questions where they make you find x and then they ask you for something else, right? So old switcheroo. Okay. Number 4. If you followed along with what I did right here and the answer to that, then you should be able to do number 4 very quickly. Watch. Take a look at those and notice that's equal to 0. One of those answer choices, if you plug in for x, will give you 0. Right? If we plug in negative 2 right here, check it out. It doesn't really matter what everything else is, but I'll fill it in. This is just a good old guess and check also. Remember, we want this to equal 0. And then this would be 3. This is 0 squared, which is 0. And then this is 1. Remember, when factors are written this way, they're all multiplied. So what do you get if you take 0 times anything? Which is what we wanted. Bingo. Right? There it is. Okay, here's number 5, and then I'll pause for a little bit. This is from the fractions assignment that we did a little bit ago. We need a common denominator so that we can add up the left side. Common denominator. Well, it's got to be not just 3, but 3x, right? Now, what this fraction needs is a 3, top and bottom. If I do that, I don't have to do anything to the other fraction. I don't do anything, right? So that means the fraction on the left is now 3 over 3x. The other one is still 1 over 3x. If I combine those, what do I do? Do I add denominators? No, we just add the top. So that's 4 over 3x is equal to 5. Now just pause for a second. Sometimes it's helpful once you get to a part like this to take a look at what they actually want us to find. They don't want us to solve for x. They want us to solve for 3x over 4. Take a look at what we have. They want 3x over 4. Well, that's this flipped upside down. See that? There you go, right? So if we're supposed to flip this, we better flip that. And don't forget there's always a 1 under every whole number, right? So if we're flipping what we have in order to find the answer that they desire, we better flip this side as well. It's 1/5. Okay. Let's take a little more time. I'll pause and I'll come back and do the rest of them really quick. I'll get it back. Hang on. Number 6. Number 6 you can find by checking each one of the answers, right? And distributing. Check it out. Watch. Right up here. If I do this, I get a cubed plus a squared b. That's not that, right? The only one that does work is b, right? They have a common factor, a. Okay, questions on that one? That should be easy peasy. That should be 100% of you get that one right. Number 7. Number 7 looks very scary. You could arithmetize this. Arithmetize meaning let's plug in a number. Now just be aware over here. It said, yeah, you can't use -1 and 1. So whatever you want. It's got to work with the answer choices. Now here's the proper way to work it out. What we have to do is get a common denominator. Let's say you had a half plus a third like this. What would the common denominator be? Yeah, that'd be over 6, right? So that means this fraction would get a 3. This fraction here would get a 2. Yeah, that'd be times. So that means we're going to do that right here. Give this one a 3. Give this one a 2. Our new denominator is this. That comes from right there. Right, 3 times 2, and then leave the x minus 1. Now up above, this is 12x. This is 6x, and we're supposed to subtract. So you end up with 6x. This looks a lot tougher than it actually is. What can we cancel? See ya. And you're left with D right there. But again, you could arithmetize. Pick a number like 4 or 7, right? There you go. All right, I've got these, and I'll put them on Plan Book, the whole thing. If I'm going too fast for you, I get it. Come in for help if you need to. Homeroom, 8th hour, before school tomorrow. I get it. All right, I'm going to keep going. Number 8. Which of the following is equivalent to this? Well, just distribute. Use FOIL. Only one of them will work out if you do that, and it is this one. Also, you should be able to tell because of this. -3 plus 2 is that -1 right there. Okay. Number 9. Number 9 is B. Here's why 9 is B. If you write out the other factor, that would have to be there. Remember, we need another factor if this is one of them. And they would have to multiply to equal 4a squared. So this would have to be 4a. This times the second thing would give us the last part. So that would be 25b. The problem is, if you do the middle part, you would get 4ab and 25ab, but that doesn't add up to 20, right? But if you do that for letter B, the other factor is 2a plus 5b, and you get exactly what we started with. So anyway, 9 is B. Questions? Here's the last page. Number 10, super simple. This times K is going to give you 24. What's K? 6. That should be 100%, everybody. Number 11, same thing. Distribute. Only one of these matches the expression up above. D, right there. All day long. So 10's 6, 11 is D. Just distribute, right? Number 12 is a tough one. You could arithmetize. That means you can plug in a number into the question and all the answer choices below. But it says X has to be greater than 3. Pick 4, right? Pick 5. If you do that, you'll get one of these answers. Here's the proper way to do it. I think I'm out of time. Hang on, I got the answers here. I'll bring those up. Proper way to do it is find a common denominator here. And if you do that, you end up with this. All right, anyway, bell rang. 13 is D, and 14 is also D. 12 is letter B. I'll go ahead and keep working it out. The problem is this is 1 over that. If you divide by a fraction, you got to flip and multiply, and that's why it's B. You have to flip it. Okay, on 13, it's remainder theorem. If we plug in the opposite of this,
Did you save your work on this?
yeah, I am right now.
They recorded?
Yeah, I still am. That's okay. So you work all that, you get 96. Let's see, 4 to 8. So yeah, 16 minus something is supposed to be 0 because there's no remainder. So then this says 120 minus something is 0. That's the something. Over here, it's long division. Start with these two. That divided by that, that's X. Then distribute. Then repeat. That's 1. And then pause and look. Only one of these says X plus 1. There you go.